Dominic Raab is not likely to be someone to go quietly, and in fact he's penned a piece for the Daily Telegraph where he talks about the Kafkaesque way in which he has been attacked. He also says that though he's gone, and however justified the feedback was, he was genuinely sorry. Well, what was the feedback? The feedback he was referring to was the fact that he called individuals who'd been working for him, civil servants, utterly useless and woeful. By way of example, he complained about the absence of what he referred to as basic information, or the basics, about obstructiveness on the part of officials whom he perceived to be resistant to his policies, and described some work as utterly useless and woeful. That's what Mr. Tolley said. It is quite extraordinary. He said this decision is flawed and sets a dangerous precedent which will paralyse the ability of ministers to deliver for the British people. Ministers should be held to the same standards as everyone else. It is odd, the language he is using. So basically what he is saying is that when a judge is invited, he said he welcomed that invitation to review a case. If the case isn't reviewed to the satisfaction of the minister, then it can be dismissed. That law is not independent, that law is dependent on the approval of the politician. That is not law. That's the Russian understanding of law. That's Mr. Putin's law. And if that's the sort of thing that Mr. Raab wishes to endorse, I'm afraid he's in the wrong country. And I'm slightly shocked. that he should have penned this 1,000-odd word piece to the Daily Telegraph to be published barely an hour after he'd actually resigned. So he had this ready, he had his letter ready, and this presumably is what has taken all the time to arrange his resignation. What it amounts to is his caveat, excuse, complaint, whinge, his poor me defence. Normal rules of evidence and procedural fairness, he says, were disapplied. For example, there's a 3-month time limit for bringing bullying claims in an employment tribunal, while standard internal human resource practice is to avoid unreasonable delay because late claims are unfair and unreliable. In my case, all the complaints were stored up for over 3 months, most over 8 months, some for over 4 years, and then submitted in a coordinated way. Well, that's probably because he is a minister and because people were terrified of him. I was subject to trial by media for 6 months. Well, you stood for national office. Fueled by warped and fabricated accounts leaked by anonymous officials breaching the rules of the inquiry, the Civil Service Code of Conduct, or both. In any workplace, HR guidance would apply. In my case, claims should have been put to me in writing straight away, giving me an opportunity to respond. That this never happened was improper, but also shows senior officials didn't think the claims were credible at the time. Extraordinary. So he's accepting the decision of Mr. Tolley, and then he's saying that it's not true. It is monumentally extraordinary. As I say, I have friends in the civil service, and whenever Mr. Raab's name is mentioned, and I try not to press them too much, there is a dark tone and a genuine reluctance to take the conversation any further. I'm not surprised at all by the conclusion, and I'm not surprised that Mr. Raab has resigned. I am surprised it's taken so long, and I am slightly surprised that the Daily Telegraph has enabled this man to deliver a further excuse to undermine justice. And this is from somebody who is the Justice Secretary, to undermine the credibility of our judges. So we're not only getting it from Suella Braverman, we're also getting it from Dominic Raab. How can we expect people to take law seriously if this is the example that our politicians are giving us?